Hey guys, just wanted to make a little video recapping this year for Spikers Synonymous for myself, and definitely kind of go over natties and talk about roundnet for a little bit. Loving that people are putting out more content on their Instagram stories and on Twitch and YouTube and everything. So yeah, I thought I'd just give some people some insight on our season. Since nobody cares to interview me, I'll interview myself. Okay, so let me just kind of go over it chronologically. So first of all, started the season playing with Spencer Schmidt, and I thought we were gonna make a whole run together the whole season, but it didn't quite work out that way. We went to the first tour stop together in San Diego, and we played pretty well, had a really good pool. We beat some good mashup teams. We beat Chris and Skylar. We beat Troy Mock and Eric Schlick, Hoopla. Trying to think who else. Can't remember. But yeah, so I think we got but then we dropped, I think we only dropped one, but we ended up getting the 4th or 5th seed. And so we thought we were in good shape, but then we ended up playing in the round of 16, Chris and Skylar that were the 12th seed, because they shanked pool play, and it was bad for us. We just played bad, and still weren't quite used to playing those OGs. There's a little bit of pressure, a little bit of anxiety to play those guys that have played in a million tour stops. And I had played in 9, maybe 10 myself, so and maybe 6 or 7 for Spencer. So, but anyways, they played well, we played like trash, and then won a few games in the back draw. Ended up getting 10th place. All in all, a pretty bad start to the year. I wasn't too discouraged because I thought we had a great pool play. Just had one bad series, which sometimes is the story of the day, but I was optimistic moving forward. But Spencer had other plans, and I don't think it was fully one bad finish that made him decide to retire. But a lot of other things went into it in his personal life, and people always ask me, and Spencer still loves Spikeball and plays with us quite a bit, usually once, sometimes even twice a week, but he's just kind of over the tournament scene, I guess, which is fine. I love playing, let's see, what's a good example? I love volleyball and racquetball, but probably not interested in playing in any tournaments. Mostly because I'm not good enough, and Spencer's good enough to play in tournaments. But I understand. It's hard to. Spikeball is one of those things where it's hard to kind of decide how committed you want to be. Are you in it for the memories and the glory, or is it just not that important to you? And neither one of those are wrong. That's just, I think a lot of players struggle to figure out how committed they want to be, especially from year to year. But super grateful for the run we had in 18. It was a blast. Snuck into the pro division by the skin of our teeth, and then Spencer got injured for natties, so that was kind of a bummer. But so anyways, after San Diego, Spencer broke it to me that he was done playing, and I was like, okay. And at the time, Tyler Stokes, my current partner, was playing with Anthony Oliver, another Utah guy, and so I texted Stokes because we had talked about maybe playing a tour stop together. We'd played in a couple of local Utah tournaments together, and he was already committed to playing in San Francisco with Anthony. So they went there and did that, and I can't remember how they did. I think they got out round of 16. I can't remember to who. I think it was Zach Wood and Cole Modell. But I think they went 3, if I'm not mistaken. And if I recall, it was quite the chippy series. I don't think I ever watched it, but anyways, so then after that, Stokes basically told me, "Hey, I'm down if you're down." And Anthony was a homie of ours, and I think he was a little bugged by it, but partners aren't that loyal in Spike. It's just Spikeball, So Stokes played one more Utah tournament with Anthony that they had already talked about playing, and then we decided to go off to the races. But I still, even though I knew Stokes was a great player, it's hard to just commit to a partner for the whole season when you haven't played much together. So we signed up for Seattle, and we're kind of like, let's see how we do, and if we have a chance of making a run at pro, let's do it. So we signed up for Seattle, and thinking it wasn't going to be super stacked because it wasn't last year, but it ended up being really stacked. You had CS anchored, Moctega, Jarrett played with Carter Clem. Let's see. You had some decent mashups with Austin Rawlings and trying to think who else. Oh, Skylar Bowles played with Joel. The Buckman brothers. There's a lot of good teams, and so we went and let's see, had a decent pool play. I think we got the 7th or 8th seed, and I think there was 19 premier teams, so it was decent. I think we dropped only to CS and Hibachi. Oh yeah, Hibachi was there. Yeah, we beat Gucci was there. We beat Warren Foote and this other kid who I forget. And I think Austin Rawlings and Eric Schlick, or yeah, and another team I forget. But so round of 16 we had Jarrett and Carter, and in my experience, you don't beat Jarrett at roundnet. Jarrett's amazing. It's hard. For me, it's hard to rank players. Like, there are a few that are kind of obvious, in no specific order. Preston, Tyler, and PJ. Those are kind of your obvious top 3. And then from there, to me, it gets murky. But, to me, Jarrett's definitely a top 10 player. You can make the argument for top 5. Anyways, so we had a nice battle with them. Ended up winning in 3, and I think game 1 we lost 28-30. And Carter's no slouch. Carter's an amazing player. So we beat them, and I remember Stokes was ecstatic. That was our first series win together. I think his first Premier Series bracket win, besides the Natties in 2018. He took 4th with Johnny Schmidt, Spencer's brother. But even though it's still an amazing field, the Premier Division at Natties with the Pro is of course a little diluted. So being in a tour stop with 5 or 6 pro level teams and getting a series win was big for us. So we were excited. And then we had Moctega in the quarters, and we took them 3 games. And unfortunately, we lost. I think game 3 was like 18-21 or 19-21. Might have even been like 20-22. It was pretty close. But we were disappointed because, anytime you have a chance to beat, I don't know what they were at the time, but a top 3 team basically. And we were unranked at the time because we were a newly formed team. Had gotten to as high as number 12 on the PR with Spencer. But yeah, we were a new commodity, so almost taking down Moctega was awesome, but of course disappointing because you feel like you're so close and just can't quite get it done. And it feels like it's not a huge consolation to take an amazing team to 3 games because it happens kind of frequently. They just are better and more experienced and know how to close out series. So it's frustrating when you feel like you're right there, but you're always like 2 to 4 points behind, because that's just, a couple bad serve receives or a couple botched sets, and there goes your day. But anyways, we were very, very happy with our finish. So had T5, didn't play out for places there. And after that, we kind of decided, all right, hey, we got 5th. We beat an amazing team. We almost beat Moctega. Let's make a run at pro. And so then we went to, let's try to think chronologically here. We went to Michigan. Went to Michigan because we were going to go to Santa Monica, the Grand Slam, but because we had just formed and, didn't play in San Francisco, didn't go to any other ones, we didn't have enough points to play in the pro division. So we didn't really want to go and battle for 9th place because it just wouldn't be enough points. So obviously a lot of people have talked about that pro division at Grand Slams issue, and hopefully it's resolved in some capacity next year. But yeah, we had zero incentive to go to Santa Monica, even though it was, the closest tour stop for us. So we opted to go to Michigan because it looked like a decent field for us, maybe a chance to podium, and also we wanted to stay with our boys, Slice the Mango. Those are our boys. So we're like, you know what? We wanted to go to Michigan anyways, and this works out great. So went to Michigan, and let's see. I have a list here actually of all the teams we beat this year in bracket play and in pool play. So we let's see. In pool play we had Fleicy, do a barrel roll, bust a rim, Origin Invictus. Is that everybody? And Joey and Joey. And let's see, what was... Effable. So Effable was Austin Rawlings and Josh from Subpar. So yeah, we went 5-1. So had a really good pool play, beat Origin Invictus. Matt Bonin was not happy. It was actually my first time ever playing duo barrel roll as both brothers together. First time beating Joey and Joey. They kind of slapped us around in pool play in Chicago last year. So that was a lot of fun. And we dropped to Effable because they were serving amazing and played to 15, I think. So, but then we had a really good seed. I think we had the 3 seed maybe. Who else was there? Schweppes was there, PJ and Clark, and Drucker and Caleb Royce, and I think Strong Flush was there, and Simply Smash, I think, is the other Canadian team. So yeah, there's a bunch of good teams there, but it was still kind of a smaller tour stop. I think there's 14 premier teams. So we saw in the first round, let's see. Oh, we played Lake Effect. Yeah, so we played Lake Effect in round of 16, and they're a good team. We'd never played them before. I had seen Kevin Bailey a little bit because he partnered up with our Utah homie Chandler Hertzler in Seattle. But yeah, we took them down in 2, both fairly close games, but yeah, we took them down in 2, and then we had Slightly Damaged Golf Bags, which was Drucker and Caleb Royce, and that was a battle. We won in 3, but Drucker's just tough, man. The only time I had beat him and Chris Wilkins in pool play in Chicago last year, and then Worldwide, as they were known, trampled us in the first round at the Grand Slam, but it was double limb, so we were okay. But yeah, Drucker's just a beast. He's 18 feet tall, and he serves ridiculously fast, and his drop is all time. Maybe there's a better drop out there, but I don't know who it is. And I think I'm gonna give him the drop championship because he drops so much. And even when I'm not receiving, I'll watch him trying to see a little tell or something, and it still gets me. He's an amazing server. And I don't even know if he cuts it. I think he does, but it's not a huge cut. He just rips the ball, and like I said, he's 18 feet tall. So if you're used to serve receiving from guys that are 6'9", good for you, but I'm not. It's probably kind of analogous to like trying to hit off of Randy Johnson. There's plenty of guys that throw that fast. Well, not plenty, but there's other guys that can pitch that fast, but not that are lefties and 6'11" or whatever he was. So yeah, it's tricky. So that game was a lot of lead changes. They'd go up 2 or 3 breaks, we'd catch up, then go up a break, then they'd tie, then we'd go up 2 breaks. It was really back and forth. I was getting a few aces, Stokes was getting aces, Drucker was getting aces. Both teams were getting defensive ups, so it was a really fun series. Drucker was perishing by the sword. I don't know if it was heat exhaustion or what. I think he said he had a really, really bad headache. So shouts out to him for playing out the series. He took a couple injury timeouts, and he just looked like he was in a bad spot. So you hate to win when another player's not feeling well, but that's the name of the game. There's always going to be injuries and people not feeling well and battling the heat. And so, yeah, we were happy to take the win. And Caleb Royce is a good player too. I like him too. He's a homie. But yeah. So then we had no, Effable wasn't the name of the Josh and Austin. Who was Effable? Effable. I can't remember. Subiquitous. Subiquitous was the name of Austin and Josh. So we played them in the No. We didn't play them next. We played PJ and Clark in the semis. And that's not a fun team to play. Okay? Two Giants. I felt like I was playing Giants all day. Go from Patrick Drucker, barely make it out alive, and then I got PJ and Clark. They're combined 50 feet tall. I mean, I'm kind of tall. I'm 6'3", but I got some lank too. Look, I got some lank too, but these guys are next level. So anyways, we lost in 2 to them, but it was a close 2. I think it was 19-21, 19-21, something like that. We even were up a few breaks in game 2. Just couldn't quite put it together. But also Stokes was starting to perish. He has diabetes, and I think the heat was getting to him. I don't know. Michigan was hot. It was a toasty day. So anyways, he was starting to perish, and so we had the 3-4 game, which was my first ever 3rd-4th match. So, I took 4th with Spencer in Chicago at the Grand Slam, but it was the double limb, so we got 4th, but we didn't play in like the I guess it's just not technically the 3rd, 4th game, because if you win, we would have gone on to the finals. It's kind of weird how double limb works, but anyways, that was my true like single elimination 3rd, 4th place game. So I was excited, just happy to be there. I knew we had to bring it because Austin and Josh kind of stomped us in pool play. But I've played both of them a bunch, so wasn't too worried about it. But knew we had to play well. And Stokes started basically dying like Drucker was dying. Took a timeout. He almost threw up. Kind of took an injury timeout to just kind of like regroup. He needed to lay down for a minute, and everyone was really nice. Gave him some water, and I think Chris Wilkins' parents saved his life, gave him a cold water. And we went and battled it out, and I didn't really think we had a shot just because Stokes looked so dead. But ended up pulling it out in 3 really close games. I think they all went into extras. Josh and Austin are both absolute studs and awesome guys. Loved playing them. So that was awesome. That was our first ever premier podium. I had podiumed twice in advanced, which feels good getting some hardware, but yeah, I wanted that glassware. I wanted a cup or a pitcher or a mug, and I got myself a cup. So that was awesome. Yeah, spoiler, PJ and Clark ended up winning over Schweppes. But oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, we lost to Schweppes in pool play. And I don't know why I can't think of who Effable is. F. Maybe Effable was not that tournament. Anyways, next one we decided to go to was Charleston, which was maybe my favorite tour stop ever. First of all, I had never been to South Carolina, and at the time I'd been to 41 states. So I've been around the U.S. quite a bit. So I was excited to go to South Carolina, really excited to go to Charleston, see that cool historic city. I like taking pictures too. So we had a lot of fun down there. And it looked like, a decent shot to go podium again. Kind of an odd Southeast tournament. You had Coastal Empire, you had Kaplow, which they were calling themselves Coastal Empire 2.0 at the time. You had Origin Invictus, you had Trippy. Who else? You had a handful of other good teams. I'm trying to think. Anyways, so we had probably our best day of roundnet ever. We went undefeated in pool play. We beat Trippy, I think 21-16 or something. Beat him pretty well in pool play. Beat Kaplow pretty well. And then had some easier teams. We beat Bull City. I guess this Affable. Who? I got to figure this out. Affable. Oh! Got it. Affable was Addison Powers and another guy. I forget his name. Good player. I think a Georgia guy. But yeah. Half a power sweep, basically. So yeah. Affable, we beat them. And yeah, then we had ourselves a nice little road to victory. So we had our round of 16 was against Coastal Empire, Harding, and Brendan Ferreira, who we stayed with and who was an awesome individual. Really good player too. So we had them in round of 16, beat them in 2. And then we had basically Kaplow, Coastal Empire 2.0, in the, we had a bye. So we played Coastal Empire in the quarters. So that's awesome. Love buys. Played Coastal Empire in the quarters, and then we had Kaplow in the semis. And I think game 1 we won like 26-24 or something. Just a dog fight. A lot of back and forth with serves, and then game 2 we just kind of ran away with it. I think we won 21-14 or something like that. But still fun match against them. 2 really good players. But we were feeling good. We called a timeout because we almost dropped game 1. I think they had game point on us a couple times. Ended up pulling it out. So we were feeling good, and then we had Trippy in the finals. So again, I was just excited to be there. It's not like I didn't think we could beat Trippy, but you're just like, hey, no matter worst case scenario, we get second place, which is the best I've ever done. Get myself a mug. So, that's exciting. And we started off hot. And ended up winning game 1, I think 21-15 or 16. But near the end of game 1, Andrew Card got injured. But at the time, I didn't really know how bad it was or what it was, or if he had kind of exacerbated an injury from earlier in the day or what. But it looked like he had, I honestly thought he had like hit his head, because there was a play that he dove, landed hard, and took a long like injury timeout. So I thought he hit his head. I thought maybe he was concussed or something, because he was kind of looking like weird. But I guess he had tweaked his neck. I don't know if tweak's the right word, sprained or whatever. But I guess he had done that earlier in the day, and this dive kind of made it worse. So he kept playing. But after game 1, they decided to forfeit. I think he talked with one of the on-site trainers, and they're just like, yeah, you probably shouldn't play on it. And it was probably, I've had some weird neck tweaks before. It was probably one of those things where the pain probably wasn't too terrible, but it's like just your range of motion is super limited. And then if you do move it a lot, that's when it really hurts. So that was probably the case. I think he was like having real trouble serve receiving because he couldn't really move his head much. So that sucked. That's kind of bittersweet, because we did beat him in pool play. We did beat him in game 1, but he was injured. So kind of a big asterisk to our first ever tour stop win. But like I said, nonetheless, you're happy to take the win however you can get it. You know, it's not like we played dirty. We were just kind of had luck on our side. And, you know, that happens. Players get injured, and, you know, that happened this year with the Warriors, you know. Would Toronto have won had the Warriors not had all those injuries? Probably not, but it doesn't matter because they did, you know. So, anyways, we were really happy with how the day ended. We didn't drop a single game all day. Definitely, you know, an easier route to the championships. You know, we didn't have to see. Oh yeah, Schweppes was there too. We didn't have to see Schweppes or Origin Invictus. But yeah, we earned it, you know. We went undefeated in pool play, and sometimes the bracket gods are on your side. So if you play enough, they eventually will be on your side. You know, I hear people complaining that they always get a bad bracket, and it's like, well, do you always have bad pool plays? And do you go to a lot of tournaments? Because, you know, eventually things will work out just fine for you if you go to enough tournaments and have decent enough pool plays. So anyway, so that was, you know, maybe the highlight of the season. You know, and we stayed an extra day in the city and just had a blast. And, you know, that day after a tour stop when you're still in the city, if you've done well, the day goes much better. I mean, we always have fun no matter what, even if you have a poor finish. But if you kind of just really underperform and play poorly, you just kind of have that bad taste in your mouth the whole weekend. And, you know, sometimes it kind of seeps into the next week. But if you play out of your heads and podium or whatever, then all of a sudden it feels like just a vacation you're on. So anyways, that was awesome. Our next tour stop was Utah, which we were elated to have a tour stop here finally. Not finally, like this was the first year where it was really merited, I think. Shout out to Taylor Sanford, who has grown the Utah Roundnet Association into a global phenomenon. He really has. He's been amazing. We put on like 20 plus tournaments a year. All our tournaments have high school divisions, co-ed divisions, women's, when we can. But yeah, it's a really unique thing, and it's a huge blessing to live here if you love roundnet. Yeah, we've had what did Sanford say the other day? We've had over 1,000 unique participants in all of our tournaments this year, which is incredible. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I get to play in a lot of local tournaments. You know, me and Stokes can kind of build our team chemistry without, you know, going to 15 tour stops a year. And we have a lot of premier guys in Utah, so we have good competition. So it's been awesome. But so anyways, we had our tour stop in Utah, and it looked to be like a very interesting day. The field was similar to Charleston. You had a couple top-heavy teams, and then from there it kind of fell off a little bit. You had Hornables. They came out to, you know, make their last-ditch effort to squeak into pro. You had 3 Crowns, which ended up being the story of the day, but, you know, I don't think anyone expected them to do much. But then you had, what was their team name? I have it written down. The Muscle to My Scrawny, which was Tyler Chiswick and Anthony Ovino. So and then you had Gucci Swagball 1001 was also there. So a lot of really tough teams. I think most people assumed, Tyler and Alvino would win the tournament, as did I. But I was like, we have a really good shot of getting podium. Who else was there? Hibachi and Ubiquitous were also there. So we started the day off, and let's see. I think we won out in pool play. Yeah, we had Hornables, Pitter Patter, which is a new premier team from Colorado, Pamplemousse, and Baja Prisdimi, which was a mashup of some Utah guys, Chandler Hertzler and Connor Winters, and 3 Crowns. So played all of them in pool play, won out in pool play, had a bye, round of 6 quarters. Quarters we played our Utah guys, which we play like 2 or 3 times a week. Kind of sucks for them, but fun match nonetheless. Kept it pretty close, but 1 and 2. And then, so semis, we ended up getting Chiswick and Alvino, which really hoping to see them in the finals, but just how the bracket worked out, we saw them in the semis and ended up winning. 1 and 2 games as well. Probably the best roundnet me and Stokes have ever played. Probably the best Stokes has ever played. He served out of his mind, was dropping like crazy, and we were getting defensive ups. We were both getting aces. We were serve receiving really well. I think in 2 games, Chiswick had 1 ace on Tyler. I'm sure we had some other bad touches, but from what I can remember, yeah. So that was amazing. And we had our home crowd cheering us, and so anytime you can beat arguably the best player in the world, no matter who he's playing with, it's amazing because he's gone and played with girls in tournaments and beaten top teams. So yeah, that was amazing. And then we ended up seeing 3 Crowns in the finals, and they had been playing amazing all day, even though they lost to us in pool play. They beat Hornables, Hibachi, and Ubiquitous to get to the finals. So they had an amazing day, and yeah, we just kind of pooped the bed. It's often a combination of, especially when 2 teams don't have really good matchup knowledge, it's kind of a combination of one team plays amazing and the other team doesn't play terrible, but plays kind of below their normal level of talent. So, probably kind of how it was the series before. We played out of our heads. Tyler and Anthony didn't play bad, but probably played a little bit below their normal level. So yeah, they got some aces, and both games were close, but I think we blew I think we were up 19-17 in game 2 against 3 Crowns and just pooped it away. So that was a bummer. Again, bittersweet because you're happy to get second at any tournament, right? But it would have been amazing to win back-to-back tour stops. But I was trying to look at the silver lining. To me, it was cool to have a glass, a mug, and a pitcher. So I was like, you got to get second sometime. And so that was awesome. And then let's see, what did we do after that? After that, we just had regionals in Santa Monica, where we had a day similar to this happens all the time actually to teams. We have an amazing pool play. I think we were 5-1 or 6-1. Let's see, who did we beat? We beat Cahooters, Hoopla, Juiced, and then we lost. We dropped to I forget his team name. Two younger guys, these California guys. One is a tall lefty. The other, I think, is another Cal Poly guy. I think he's the one that played with Warren Foote in Seattle. But both really good players, extra good on sand. Dropped to them. And so if we hadn't dropped that one, we probably would have been the 1 or 2 seed. But we ended up taking the 3 seed behind Boisterous and Moctega. And so we still had a decent route. So round of 16, we had, again, my boy Chandler Hertzler, who played with Bradley Thompson. So we 1 and 2 there. And then quarters, we had Cahooters, which we had beat them bad in pool play. I think we beat them like 21-12. But it's pool play. It's one game, But that was our first time ever playing them as a team. I played Jacob Payer a handful of times with other partners, but it's also been a while. He's developed a lot with his game. He has a really nice lefty now. And again, much more comfortable against these guys had it been on grass or turf. But not only are these ambidextrous, amazing servers that much better on sand, but when you have little to no matchup knowledge against them and you play year-round on grass, it's kind of a bad combo. But that's an excuse. We played not our best game. But with that being said, I think both games went into extras fairly deep. I think we lost like 24-26, 26-28 or something like that, which is disheartening. But it was okay. We didn't, we were pretty much into the pro division, and we were just hoping to go have a fun tournament and do well. And we wanted to really do well to kind of get ourselves in good position for elite. But a T5 wasn't terrible. It was just like, losing to Cahooters isn't bad. They're a really good team. They're a top 10 or 12 team. So that was okay, but still, disappointing. And then we had Natties, baby. So we were really excited to play on turf. We play on turf a lot in Utah. And we went in as the 8th seed. And in our pools were CS, Club Spike Worldwide, and Hornables. So we first played Hornables, beat them in 2. At this point, had seen them a decent amount, had kind of gotten over, the anxiety of playing OGs, and, weren't especially nervous about their serves or anything. So we beat them in 2 games. I think like 21-17, 21-18, about like that. Then we had Club Spike Worldwide and beat them in 3, which I was stoked about because that's a really good team. They took, what did they take? 2nd in regionals in Midwest. What else did they get this year? Felt like they won a tour stop or got 2nd again. I can't remember, but they're an amazing team, and they're tough. And Chris Wilkins, in my book, should be in the conversation for most improved player this year. Got dropped by Matt Bonin in the middle of the season. Who were they? They were Origin Invictus. Yeah. Bonin wasn't about it, so yeah, Wilkins' serve is a lot tougher than it was even a few tour stops ago. Hustles like crazy, makes tough plays. Yeah, so yeah, we beat him in a close 3-game series, and then we had CS where we were riding that wave. We were playing well, and in game 1 we went up I think 4-0. I had a few aces to start. And to be fair, I mean, obviously those guys are the GOATs, right? But, they still have limited matchup knowledge against us. They came and stayed in Utah actually earlier this year and hung out with me and Spence, and when they filmed the Pro Spikers, and we played with them a lot. They helped us with our game a lot. But that was like last February, I think. So it was a while ago. So a lot of things have changed. Our serves have changed a lot, and they haven't seen Stokes a lot. So I guess Tyler just did in Utah. But anyways, we got a little lucky. They had some bad touches, and we started off strong. We're able to get a couple defensive ups and ended up winning game 1, I think 21-14. It was funny. We had a little group of Utah guys and some Michigan guys that were cheering us on and being pretty loud. And I was almost just like, guys, chill. You're going to awaken the beast. Because, every time I got an ace or a defensive break or something, zero celebration. And that's kind of my thing anyways. I don't really celebrate a lot until, you kind of seal the series. But I also know that that Tyler and PJ can kind of switch it on to a whole nother level, which sometimes they don't, and that's to their detriment. But yeah, game 2, they cranked it up. And we played pretty close. I think we were at like 10s or 12s, and then PJ went on a nasty, dirty little run, which was rather indicative of the rest of the day. But yeah, that was the story in game 2 and game 3. It was funny. Game 1 was a blowout, and then game 2 was, I think, like 21-17, and then game 3 was a blowout. They beat us like 21-15 or something. And it was basically just PJ going off, his step-out cut and his step-out jam. He wasn't really fuengoing, but those serves are just so nasty. And definitely 10 times more comfortable receiving them on the grass or turf, but still, they're coming so fast. If they don't hit the right part of your hand, they're going to be not only a bad touch, but they're going to be a terrible touch, because if they hit just the side of your fingers, or heaven forbid your palm, or kind of half your hand instead of your whole hand, it's just going to fly off into oblivion. So yeah, he aced us a bunch, and I'm embarrassed to admit it. Not really, not embarrassed, but again, kind of disappointing. You take a game off them, you play so great, but then you lose because your serve receive isn't quite up to par. But it happens, and it's just pool play. But I love playing full series in pool play. The Pro Division is an awesome format. And then from there, we had, what seed did we get? We got the 5th seed at a 16. So we ended up having a decent road because we got 2nd in our pool. And so we played Power Sweep in round of 16. And that was fun because I'd never played Power Sweep. I played Effable with Addison and Who's His Face in Charleston. But I don't think I'd ever played Micah Corbett. I think I played him in pickup in Chicago last year, but yeah, I'd never played him before. So I just love playing guys and teams I've never played before. It's more fun for me. So yeah, we played them, and I I really like Addison Towers, and I like Micah. Those are really cool, chill guys. Just really genuine dudes and really tough servers, especially Addison. And Addison does this funky thing I noticed. You know how sometimes people will go to cut and you can kind of see them, already kind of curling their fingers, kind of like I call it the claw. Addison does this funky claw where he's literally like this, and like it's really dirty, and he cuts the freaking hell out of the ball, and jams are really nice too. But with that being said, I started off game 1 and served probably better than I ever have in life. So we got off to an amazing start, and I had 10 aces in a row, which is unheard of against pro-level teams. So yeah, went up 10-0. They were just kind of I don't know, because you know when just everything is coming together and you're just in a zone, I was like, I need to go back in the footage and see. I don't want to exaggerate, but I feel like I had almost no second serves. It was just like first serve, cut, jam, drop, cut. And, I was doing it from, some different stances to kind of throw them off a little bit. But, I've been victim to runs too. PJ's gone on 4 or 5 point runs. Kenny Ortega has bested me, for these runs of 4 or 5 points. But 10 was crazy. So, and again, I'm not one to get an ace and scream "let's go" or "come on," because I still gotta serve again. The game's not over. But that's just me. I got love for anyone who screams at any point in the game, because I love passion. But I stay in the zone when I'm not over celebrating. So I didn't really say anything. I was just pew, 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 kind of a Tyler Chizik mode, or Matt Bonin, but not as intense. I still have a smile on my face from time to time. But anyways, we ended up winning game 1, I think 21-8, 21-9. A real modern day bloodbath. And then they played a lot better in game 2, but we just had the edge, had the momentum, and won, I think 21-16 or something like that. Still a good win, but they had adjusted. And it's weird how some games just nothing goes your way, and it's not that. I think if we played power sweep another 15 times, we wouldn't have a game where we won 21-8. If we played them 15 times, we might have 1 or 2 where we win 21-12 or 13. But they're better than that. They're a good team. Just sometimes just nothing is going right in a game, and it's frustrating, and it gets in your head. And when you're down 5 or 6 points, it's hard to think you can come back. So sometimes you're just like, that's it. Let's focus on the next game. Let's get through this and focus on the next game. So anyways, and then later that day, Caleb Royce came up to me, and he's like, dude, how are you going to do that to my boys? How are you going to expose them like that? And I was like, dude, because Addison was right there. He was just kind of being a punk. And Addison's like, dude, shut up. And he just kept going. He's like, how could you expose them like that, bro? Oh, my boys, how you going to do them like that? And I was just like, dude, I've been done like that too, so I'm not trying to say anything, but Caleb's funny. And then from there, we had Boisterous in the quarters, which you don't want to see Boisterous in the quarters. You want to see him in the semis or the finals, but it's the pro division. Any quarter match, any quarterfinals match is going to be gnarly. So we knew taking the 2 seed in our pool would be a great opportunity to make top 8, but probably our worst shot at getting to semis. And again, this was our first time we'd ever played Boisterous. I'd played Wabi Sabi and pool play a couple times, played Caleb in pool play a couple times with 717, but I'd never played them before. Obviously, you know how good they are, so it's not any surprise, and I watched a decent amount of film, but again, I was just excited to play them, excited to go out and fight and try to steal 2 games, you know. It's not really stealing if you win 2 games, because then you just win the series, but I look at it just game at a time, trying to steal a game, you know, against those teams that are kind of obviously better than you, at least rank-wise, pedigree-wise. You know, just try to steal game 1. If you don't steal it, let's steal game 2. And if you steal game 2, let's try to steal game 3, because you don't really deserve any of those games, so you have to steal all of them. But game 1, we lost pretty close, I think 21-18 or 19. And then game 2, we popped off, played really well, got a couple timely aces, and won, I think, 21-18, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're feeling good. You know, we're feeling really good. Going into game 3, there was a couple questionable calls by Preston. Max was observing, but it would have been nice to have a second observer, I guess, but maybe a little tricky in the quarters. You know, Preston called a carry that I highly disagreed with, especially because no one calls carries. Doesn't mean it's not a rule. Doesn't mean you can carry, but such a momentum-changing call. I think we were up like 18-17 at the time, and we had to replay it because we were at a complete disagreement and Max didn't really see it. So replayed the point and lost the point. So that was disheartening. And I haven't gone back to the film to rewatch it, but it definitely wasn't. What's frustrating with that is, like, if it was a carry, it wasn't a carry that, like, you know how sometimes you have to, your only chance at getting it back to the net is a weird carry. It wasn't one of those. It just kind of, you know, I thought it just hit my fingers. He thought it kind of stayed or rolled off my fingers, whatever. But it's like, either way, it didn't really affect the set. Like, it didn't give me extra time. It didn't give me an advantage. It just maybe looked a little bad. You know, at the end of the day, a rule's a rule, but I disagreed. Maybe rewatching the film, I'll see that I did carry, but I don't think I did. But it's fine. You know, I love Preston, and he saw what he saw. He made the call, which is a ballsy call, because Max could have had a good view and said no. But anyways, so we ended up losing, I think 21-18 or 19, even though we were up 8-7, which was really frustrating, because, let's see, how did they do it? I think Preston just had one ace and then one bad touch we had that we couldn't quite convert. And then, you know, that's kind of it. So that was a drag. You know, this close to making it to the semis at Nationals, and beating the number 2 team in the world. But, you know, these top teams know how to get it done. You know, CS went three games with us, with Flexual, with Trippy, and with Boisterous. 4 series where a couple point swings and it goes the other way, but they're just, you know, they have ice in their veins and are able to just get it done. And that's what the better teams usually do. So got to get better and get to that point where, you know, when it comes down to it, we're just we're winning those close series. So anyways, we were bummed but happy with our finish. Awesome taking a game off CS and taking a game off of Boisterous. And ultimately, I felt like we played well all day. Our only kind of lapses were, serve receiving Preston, Caleb, and PJ, which everyone struggles with. But and then we played out for 5th, so we played Hornables, beat them in 3. It's kind of like we both, I think, wanted to just what had happened. Yeah, the finals had already started. It was like the end of game 3 of the semis, and then the finals started during our series. So none of us really wanted to play, but we still wanted to play. We wanted to get 5th instead of 7th or whatever. And so us especially, because Elite was on the line, and I wasn't positive with the mathematics. I thought we had made it because Shake and Bake, who was on the cusp, had gotten out in the round of 16, and GT, who we were ahead of slightly, they had gotten out in quarters as well, but then they lost in their first play-out game to Trippy. So we thought we were in a good spot, but we're like, hey, let's end the day well. Let's beat Hornables. We beat them already in pool play, and we just played to best 3 to 15, and a little sloppy, a little ugly, but we ended up winning, and that was awesome. And then at that point, it was, I think, the beginning of game 3 of the finals, and so we went up to Trippy because we had Trippy next to play for the 5th or 6th, and I think they were spent. They had already clinched Elite. We had clinched Elite, and they wanted to watch the finals, and so they were like, hey, if you guys are fine, you can take 5th because we don't want to play. So we were like, we'll take it. 2-0 against Trippy. Never played a full series, but 2-0 against them. And I really didn't want to play. Arm was dead. Wanted to watch game 3, but had they wanted to play, I would have played. I wouldn't have said, yeah, you guys can take 5th. We'll take 6th. I wanted to play, but was happy to not play. So, anyways, ended up the day taking 5th place. Really, tied for 5th with Trippy, basically. But, yeah, it was an amazing day, an amazing season. I think this year, including independent tournaments, I've played in, I think, 8 tour stops and, 7 tour stops, and I think like 9 or 10 independent tournaments, all in Utah. But yeah, it's been an amazing season. Still might play a couple of independent tournaments before 2020. But yeah, I keep saying the word awesome, so I'm going to stop saying that. But it's been tremendous. It's been fun. As far as the 2020 season goes, again, I'm 99% sure we clinched Elite. Haven't gotten an email or confirmation or anything about it, but I'm pretty sure we have. So that's something to look forward to. If nothing else, just an awesome. If nothing else, a cool milestone to get to. Kind of make the journey from advanced to premier to pro to elite. So it's fun to climb the ranks and feel like we're finally a top team. And I don't really care about power rankings. Some people will have us at like as low as like number 12, and some people will have us as high as maybe 5 or 6. But it's tough. Some of those teams ahead of us, like Flexual, Trippy, GT, we haven't really played this year, so it's hard to Anchored as well. So it's hard to, they definitely have a more impressive pedigree, but we haven't really played them. So it'd be fun to go head to head against them. But, and then next year, as far as like preseason rankings go, it'll really depend on what teams are staying together, what teams are coming back, what new mashups there are. So I'd love to sneak into the top 5, but it's kind of not super important. It's just fun. But finally feel like we're kind of there. Feel like we're definitely a top 10 team and in the conversation for top 5. Probably more realistically, somewhere around 6 or 7, but I think we're in the conversation for top 5, which is exciting. And maybe things will change, with Hilltop coming back. I don't know if I don't think Jarrett's going to be playing really next year as an official team. I don't know if Travis Core will be. Preston, I'm sure he'll play even if he thinks he's not going to. I assume CS is coming back, but you just never know. So a lot of these teams could disassemble and new teams could form. So I'm excited for 2020. Went and played pickup yesterday, even though on like Saturday and Sunday I was just like, dude, I'm not playing pickup on Tuesday. Because normally I just kind of play rain or shine every Tuesday. That's our Spikeball night. But I was just like, dude, my arm is sore. My butt is sore. I'm trashed. It's the end of the season. Let me just chill. But then Tuesday came and I was like, you know what? I feel like getting some touches in. I want to work on some stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited for the off season. Again, in Utah, our off season is dictated by the cold, but we have a tournament down in St. George in a couple weeks. I might go to. We'll have some indoor tournaments probably. So a lot of opportunities to get better. I think a lot of these independent tournaments this year in Utah, I'll look to play with, a couple here with Stokes, but just mix it up, mash it up with some other buddies. I love playing co-ed, but anytime I play co-ed in Utah, people hate me. So I need to get out and play in a co-ed tournament next year. But yeah, so I know I have a lot that I need to work on with my game. I'm not going to talk for Stokes, but I know he's excited to work on his craft and get better and see what we can do next year. And as far as our team, I don't know how long we'll be together. I know Stokes is looking to apply to master's programs, a PhD program perhaps here pretty soon, and who knows where that could take him. And of course, we could still stay together. But just kind of taking it season by season. I just love the game. Love the community. Love being around new people and fraternizing with good guys. Awesome girls too. Just don't meet as many, of course. But yeah, I'm just grateful and also excited about the innovation of the game. I think Worlds is a cool thing. If I was invited to go, I think I would definitely go. But if not, don't know how much I'll care because I'm sure the U.S. will win. But I think it's a move in the right direction, and I think it's a really cool thing. I like the rule changes from this year. The double serve thing, I think, was an essential move. Shout out to the board, to Jack, for making those decisions. As far as next year, who knows what will happen? Who knows what rule changes will be implemented, but I'm excited for the sport. It's fun to be on the ground floor of something that's happening, something exciting that's happening and moving forward. So, and then you got, I'm sure a lot of you noticed at nationals and West Coast regionals and a few things, this new roundnet apparel company, Cathedral brand. The owner is a friend of mine, a Utah guy, and I think he's done an amazing job. His vision for the sport, not just design and aesthetics, but his vision for the sport and the brand, I think is really, really awesome. And if I say awesome one more time, I'm going to kill myself and delete this video. But yeah, his gear is really cool, and he's putting out a lot of stuff. And I think it's just great to have not necessarily a competitor of Spikeball, but it's like, I know me personally, I own just about everything Spikeball makes. So to have more roundnet stuff that isn't cheaply made or, kind of just thrown together ad hoc, I love it, and I'm going to eat it up, and I'm going to probably eventually own everything that Cathedral makes. So if you haven't checked them out, check out their Instagram, Cathedral Brand, or cathedralbrand.com. They have the coolest gear. And the shirts are really soft and comfy. They got hats, they got hoodies, they got stuff that says podium if you're a freaking baller and get that podium. They got tanks, they got girl stuff, lady apparel. So it's all groovy. Anyways, love you guys. If you have any questions or comments, please hit me up in the DMs, comment on the video. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about roundnet, about Spikers Synonymous, about the future of the sport, about playing tips, about my personal life. Don't care. I'm an open book. So anyways, good chatting with you guys. I put on our Instagram story that I was going to make a little video recapping natties, and I was going to put it on IGTV, and I was like, well, that only goes up to 10 minutes, but if it goes over 10, then I'll throw it on YouTube, right? We're at an hour and 12 minutes, so this is basically a podcast episode. But anyways, appreciate you guys, and we'll see you soon.